We will call this April 17, Brown County Commission to order. Mr. Sutton, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Our first item on our agenda is bid opening for cell number 3 construction at the landfill.
Okay, Brown County Board of Commissioners will receive sealed bids for their landfill cell 3 construction project until Tuesday, April 17, till 8:45 a.m. in the Commissioner Chambers at the Brown County Courthouse. Sealed bids, let me see. Received sealed bids will be publicly opened and read aloud at the Brown County Commissioners Chamber at the above-mentioned time. Bids are invited upon the items in approximate quantities of work as follows. The base bid, which includes mobilization and other things, and then, or the main construction, and a chain link fence, landfill dewatering, and other miscellaneous work. And then alternate bid 1 is mobilization for a leachate evaporator system, and other miscellaneous work. Alternate 2 is mobilization to remove and dispose of the existing fence and are they replacing that? They're replacing the fence in the first base bid, and this is just removing the existing fence and other miscellaneous work. Each bid must be accompanied by a certified check or bank draft payable to the order of Brown County in amount equal to 5% of the total bid. A bid bond in amount equal to 10% of the total bid will be accepted in lieu of a certified check or bank draft. Surety for bid bond must be authorized to do business in South Dakota. I understand that you may come back this morning to award, otherwise it can be referred. The owner reserves the right to reject any or all bids and to waive any informality in the bidding.
Was there anything in there about alternate 3?
Nope. That was added by addendum.
Okay.
That's the addendum.
Okay.
And I
Just
will
checking.
need a motion to approve the addendum.
So,
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Hanson, to approve the addendum. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
all right, open away.
Got 3 bids here, starting with RTS Shearing out of Jamestown, North Dakota.
What was the name again?
RTS.
RTS?
Yep. R as in
Shearing,
Ralph, T as in Tom, S as in...
Not aware.
Jamestown, North Dakota. The addendum was acknowledged. Signed, bid bond. Qualification.
Okay. Bid bond.
Yep,
And
bid bond, and it was signed. So, base bid, $2,114,007.96. $2,114,007.96. Alternate bid 1, $274,536.60. Alternate bid 2, $47,060. Alternate bid 3, this was an add of $425,000.
125,000.
Yep.
Thank you. And I didn't read what that alternate bid 3 was.
Alternate bid 3 was soil disposal, add or deduct of 100,000 cubic yards of weathered shale or shale material.
So that was an ad.
That was an add,
That
yep,
one
an
was
add
an
of
add.
425,000. Bidder number 2 is Central Specialties, Inc. Central Specialties, Inc. out of Alexandria, Minnesota. Addendum was acknowledged. Bid assigned. And there was a bid bond, 10% surety. Base bid, $2,610,635.96. $2,610,635.96. Alternate bid 1, $267,936.90. Alternate bid 2, $42,549. No bid on alternate bid 3. Third, bidder number 3 is B&B Contracting out of Aberdeen, South Dakota. Addendum was acknowledged. With 10% surety bid bond. And it was signed. Base bid, $1,809,106.75. $1,809,106.75. Alternate bid 1, $269,143.09. Alternate bid 2, $36,704. Alternate bid 3, a deduct of $50,000. Those are the bids received.
Can you explain to me why some people have a plus on the well disposal and some have a deduct?
So
Some can
alternate,
use it and some can't.
I see. Well, they'll use it. Because they're here at Aberdeen, it makes a difference.
yeah, essentially what we're doing with alternate bid 3 was we're testing the market on the value of that excess soil that we have at the facility.
Say if we wanted, I'd take it.
You wanna bring a truck?
What was the engineer's estimate? $1,096,000.
What's that?
$1,986,118.40 for the base bid.
If you want to refer to the...
What was that? What was that again?
$1,986,118.40. Alternate bid 1, engineer's estimate was $252,497.
Who's this now? I'm sorry? That's the estimate.
This is engineer's estimate.
Oh, okay.
And then alternate bid 2 was $40,800. And alternate bid 3 was a deduct of $75,000.
Could you please repeat the estimate for bid 1?
$1,986,000.
You're saying for
What,
The
for
RTS?
estimate.
Or
Alt-
the,
Weren't you just now giving the engineer?
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
What
okay.
was the one for alternate bid 1?
Okay, alternate bid 1, $252,497.
Thank you.
Would you intend to check them quick, just next door, and
Okay.
come back with a...
We'll refer them back to you and give you a chance to check them over and make sure they spec the way you find it.
All right,
So,
Move to defer.
Second.
moved by Fishback, second by Sutton to defer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thanks everybody for coming. I'm kind of surprised that you did one, if I was somebody that took dirt and my deed.
They didn't call you today.
That's the place they could file it, that's for sure. Too far away.
That's a huge add-on.
Oh, yeah, sure, heck is.
Almost half a
The
million
dirt's worth a lot
dollars.
of money.
It gives you an idea that when you're looking at value, what that soil's worth.
Yep.
Next item on our agenda is the ordinance 116, the first reading of the Theobald rezone. Do I have to read through it, Max, or?
It's just rezoning from, ag preservation to mini ag. The location is, 38809 139th Street.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Fishback, second by Kipley to approve the first reading of the Theobald rezone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries for the first reading. We've got just a couple minutes to discuss the sheriff's salaries. Is Tom and Mark here?
And they do.
Not yet.
We can't leave it. I don't think it'll be
We got about 3 minutes. Max, you want to just take care of a couple things maybe?
Okay, the minutes from April 10th general meeting, County Board of Equalization and Consolidated Board of Equalization.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley to approve the minutes for the County Equalization Consolidated Board for April 10th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I think I might have to abstain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to do them in two motions?
I think we should keep the general away from
Separate.
consolidated, yeah.
Okay. So Sutton Kipley would be just the general?
Sure.
I'll move the other.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Fishback to approve the County Board of Equalization and Consolidated. You want them separate, or is that all right to put them two together?
They can be together,
We
I
can put them
think.
together.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Claims, payroll.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Hanson, second by Sutton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
HR report.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Hanson, second by Fishback to approve the HR report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Lease agreement, and I believe there was, alcohol, maybe not.
I don't think there was alcohol.
There was-
I don't think
Wedding.
it feels it's sweaty.
So lease agreement.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley, approve the lease agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Auditor's report of account.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Fishback, second by Hanson to approve the auditor's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Fair contracts.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley to approve the fair contracts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The Midco agreement.
There was a note on there saying it was for the Milnham building, but I think it's actually for here. Is
The
that?
entire thing. I think
Right.
an
Yep.
amended agenda was sent out to you
Yep,
folks
yep.
and posted yesterday
I,
morning.
the note just said Milnham, I just want to make sure that was
Yeah.
clarified, so
Okay.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Hanson to approve the Mid-Continent agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
They moved the Bolorama due to the weather, and I think we need a motion to amend the date on the malt beverage license for Boys and Girls Club. I move that.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by
Is it
Fishback
gonna be this weekend now, or?
Yes.
to amend the the malt liquor license for the Bolorama. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And sheriff report.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Hanson, second by Sutton to approve the sheriff's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You skipping by the Fair Board bylaws?
Derek's coming in for that, I think.
Okay.
Still no sign of Tom.
Going back to the minutes, you know, I probably should not have had county board and consolidated since both those boards are meeting today. Can we withdraw that that motion and second?
Who made the motion?
For which one?
Both of them. And then
Okay.
we'll do the county board at 10 and the consolidated at 1.
Well, at that meeting.
Oh,
At that
sure.
meeting.
I would rescind mine.
Okay,
Part of it.
that'd be good.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
Do I have to list it in the minutes, or since it's withdrawn, just leave it out?
I think you just leave it out.
Okay. Yeah, that, I shouldn't have had them on this tablet. Should have it in that.
Good catch.
I better write it here, I'll forget.
That brings us to 9 o'clock. Do we have somebody from the sheriff's department?
Not yet. I know Mark's not here today. He's traveling to a conference, but I thought Tom was going to come.
Does that mean the salary's all right?
Well, I think we'd still talk about it based on the numbers they gave us. So we are, did I understand we're still short 2 investigators and 1 deputy? Is that where we're at?
I believe so. At least 1 deputy. Well, given the difficulty that we're having hiring investigators and certified deputies, you know, one of the problems is our wage scale is such that I think is hindering hiring qualified people, and we're not alone. Yeah, City of Aberdeen, I think, is down several certified law officers too. But in an effort to try and get those salaries up to a level where we might be able to attract some qualified people, I would make a motion that we raise the salaries of the investigators by $2 an hour, and the deputies by $1 an hour, effective beginning the next payroll.
I'd second that motion.
Moved by Sutton, second by Hanson to increase the hour wage of $2 for investigators and $1 for certified deputies. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Along those same lines, I think we need to have a discussion about where that money's going to come from. I'm in complete agreement, and with our hands kind of tied with some of the security things that we're being forced to do, I know that things are going to be a little tight when we do this budgeting here this summer. I would offer a motion to the commission that we consider, I think there was a time when we needed to have the sheriff overseeing our communication department, and I believe he can still do that, but I don't think we need to be paying an extra stipend to do that right now when we got the numbers of where our sheriff is at. We had him, we're still higher than Beetle, Coddington, Hughes, and Yankton. And I believe he's getting extra $13,000 for overseeing that communication center. I would make a motion that we go ahead and remove the salary stipend effective next January, because it's already been budgeted for 18. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing to have him overseeing it, but I don't think that we have to have, I think the reasoning for the extra stipend is then we don't have that anymore. I'll throw that out there.
We had this discussion a couple months ago, and
Chris, you had something?
I'd second that first.
Okay, we need a second
Chris,
for
just real
discussion.
quick,
One thing on that, I'd have to look at the joint
It's not in there.
powers
as a-
agreement, but doesn't the city
The city pays half
pay
of
some of
that.
that?
Yep.
So I'm not entirely sure it's the county commission's decision alone. I think it needs to probably be in that joint group that's scheduled with that.
May.
May 20,
That would be my opinion without looking at the agreement. I didn't know this was going to get discussed.
Yeah, I would think that'd be a good time to discuss that.
And we can bring it up then too, but my understanding is that the 911 fund with the state pays for whatever chunk that we have there, and then the rest is just split between the county and the city. So yes, they would pay for half of that stipend, but the agreement does not dictate how much that is.
Like
So I
I said, I
guess-
didn't know this was going on, or I would look at the agreement.
So we can probably wait until we have a little more information before we...
That would be my advice, but that's totally up to you folks.
I guess my fear is just with an election coming up, we've addressed other offices, and I think it's only fair that we throw it out there so everybody's aware. And like I said, I don't want it, it's nothing against either of the candidates that are running, I just don't feel that that position should have that extra stipend any longer.
Well, if that's the concern, I think we have some time to address it, so if you could at least give me a week.
Okay.
Okay. One of the other things, Chris, you mentioned that city pays half that. Is that...
I don't know if I do.
Okay.
I know it's a joint powers agreement, and I thought it was pretty much split down the middle, so that's what I wanted to look at.
How does that form come in? Matt?
Okay, the budget is submitted, and I don't know how much input the city has had in that in past years.
I would say one thing to that. I don't think they've had a lot of input, which has frustrated some of them.
Yeah, but
So I think
anyway,
that's supposed to change going forward.
right, once that budget is submitted, I calculate the estimated revenue from the surcharge on the phone bills, the 911 surcharge. The balance to be financed is split 50-50 between the city and the county. And late summer, early fall, I bill the city for their portion. So technically,
Do you remember how much that was at all?
let me grab
I
it.
think it's about $260,000
Yeah,
for each entity.
yeah,
But I guess I would like to add, I know that they've had a great working relationship since the turnover there in the dispatch center, but if I'm a city representative, I guess I would be a little ticked knowing that my money is going to subsidize the sheriff position. Not saying that he doesn't do anything with the communication center, but there's plenty of areas where I feel it's unfair for the county and some of the contracts that we have with the city, but this is one where I think that we should be paying for our sheriff, and if I'm a city person, I guess.
Well, I would disagree because 80% of the calls are city calls.
Yeah, dispatch takes care of,
and when we have...
all-call emergency
Right.
Like in
calls.
Pennington County,
Yeah.
the city pays 80% of the dispatch.
Right, and that's why half of that budget is the city's, but the
Well-
sheriff, not so much. I guess that's the
Yeah,
When
question.
this came up a couple months ago, like I started to say earlier, I contacted McNeil, and I contacted different users of that dispatch, and they all stressed that they wanted to have the sheriff overlook the whole
Sure,
thing.
which is
They
fine.
said it is needed, especially Chief McNeil. He was very strong on retaining Mark overseeing the dispatch. But I don't know if any of you talked to any of the users, but I think we need to talk to the users before we make that. Cutting that $6,500 from our budget to fund that, we've hired other people part-time for filing, and we're spending more on that if we'd hire them for the year. So I'd rather go with the users, and I feel real strong that the users should be the deciding people on this.
And those are the same folks I've talked to, Nancy. It's just, it's not an issue of whether the sheriff oversees it, because he's still there, and they're still working interdepartmentally between the sheriff, the communication center, emergency management, all those pieces that come together. The fact is, we're paying extra there, and I don't know that a lot of places do that. And my feeling is just, when we keep adding things to different areas, where does it come off of? To me, I'm not going to go back to the constituents and say we have to raise taxes when there's areas that we could be cutting a little bit, especially when we see, I'm not saying our sheriff is by any means overpaid, but he's definitely in the median, in the average. He earns every dime that he gets, but that's an area where if we're going to up the salaries of the investigators and deputies, where does that money come from? At the end of the day, we got to find somewhere to shift that money. So I guess I will rescind my motion for now. That meeting is going to be, I think it's May 9th-ish,
No, it's the 20, somewhere,
It's in May.
I think it's late.
17th maybe?
and then we can bring it up again after that meeting.
It's on a Thursday, I believe it's the 17th. I have to look at my schedule, but I believe that's what it is.
So I'll get it back on the agenda after.
So Rachel, the question is, it's not to remove the sheriff.
No, I'm not saying anything about him
It's the
overseeing.
pay. So
Exactly.
the question is, does the city have to join in on that pay? And if we make a decision, if you folks make a decision to lower that pay, is that something that the joint user agreement needs to make, or is that a county commission?
Yes, and I will bring that up to him. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. So that motion's been rescinded?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you need a second to rescind it, or can Rachel just do it?
I withdraw my second.
There you go.
Okay.
So Tom, you showed up, we did raise the investigators $2 an hour and the certified deputies $1 an hour.
Okay. And Thomas saying starting next pay period?
Yes.
Okay. To let you know, we transferred one of our deputies from the field, John Lemke, as our newest investigator. So we'll start with the one position, try and get him trained up to a bunch. We'll probably put the word out again that with this new wage, just in case we can hire some experience from without. Otherwise, we'll probably be looking at the second investigator probably the very first part of July, once we have some of the people coming back from military leave as well as the academy. So we will have one starting Monday for training, so the process has started. We're starting to move forward, so.
What does that training involve?
It's everything, you know, it's a whole different skill set from field deputy to investigator, because you have a certain number of forms and procedures that, everything from investigations of children to sex abuse to the evidence. I mean, it's
Where does he go to get that training?
here. Yep. We looked at maybe Damian Barr helping out with a couple of the aspects. We've got DCI, which will be able to help out. He'll be able to work with the city detectives to get some of that experience, so it's going to be a real OJT type of thing. And of course, there'll be specialized schools that we'll send them to, but to start off, we'll get some stuff.
How many
done here.
techies does the city have?
Oh, they're going to have at least half a dozen.
Do they?
Yeah.
I think 7.
Is it 7? Okay.
So hopefully that helps your process out a little bit by trying to...
I sure hope so, yeah. We're in a rut right now, and it's like we'll redouble the efforts and put out the word again as far as investigators and deputies, because we still have one certified officer for the court security to fill, and now with John being off of here, we'll have yet another road deputy, so we'll see what we can do. But thank you very much for the consideration.
Good luck.
Hope that helps.
I do too, I really do. You need anything else of me?
No, I think that's all we had at this point, unless you have anything more for us, Tom.
I'm sure we'll come back. Yeah. Now that we know where the money is. All right, thank you guys.
Take care.
For the money
We'll
was.
let John know that he accepted it 2 days
For
before the
clarification.
pay raise, so he's locked in at the lower pay.
Rachel, have you withdrawn your motion rather than rescind because it was never voted on?
Yeah, can we withdraw?
Everyone's appropriate.
Is that, for clarification, would Rachel withdraw her motion since it was never officially voted on rather than rescind?
Withdraw, so
Yeah, withdraw.
probably would be the right terminology.
Whichever one is appropriate.
Withdraw.
Never happened.
Okay, we good?
Yep.
Running a little behind, we have Dave Slosher, Department of Legislative Audit Entrance Conference. Morning, Dave.
Morning, Dave.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Well, I think we all know each other here, so, I do have a new person helping me out. His name is Wyatt Workentine. Okay. Chelsea, she went on to bigger, better things down in Arkansas, I guess, so. But, we've been here 3 or 4 days, and I don't really have any questions of you guys. I don't know if you got any questions, or, you know, if you, something you want us to look at, you know, we certainly can. Otherwise, you know, it'd be pretty much the same audit process, you know, testing. We always look at, you know, the fair every year, because it's a material outlying revenue source, so we have to look at it. The landfill we looked at every year, that's material outlying revenue source, and then we kind of mix it up with the rest of the departments, you know. But, so I don't have a lot here or anything at this point.
As far as your needs, you had mentioned earlier there were some
questions regarding computers and stuff you needed? Have you got that all resolved? Everything's
Yeah, Paul.
functional for you and at this point in time?
Yeah, Paul has it so we can do some lookup capability here on that Square 9, and then, you know, the time sheets that, I believe it's Sundial. So we haven't started, you know, looking at it yet, but yeah, I think that should be great, that'll work, so. And if I come across anything during the course of the audit, I'll, you know, I can email you, Doug, or, you know, let you know, and you can forward anything on to the rest of the board, or however you want to do that, but I don't...
Well, hopefully you don't have to email me.
No, I'm sure. Probably not, so.
Okay.
Is there any new areas of problem that you've noticed, like any other counties, like anything that's a repeat that you're looking at here? Is there anything that's overview of other audits that you guys have done lately that you're thinking, oh, we should look at this more closely?
Here?
Here or anywhere, like a
No.
pattern? Okay.
No, is there anything you...
No, I'm just
okay.
curious if you guys,
Yeah.
that we need to be watching out for, or...
No,
Okay.
since...
We'll know more in a couple months, right?
Yeah, you know...
We'll know when we get the exit report.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know...
And the bill.
Yeah. But we don't have test grants this time, so
That's good.
that's kind of nice.
Save a little time.
Yeah, so, but, well, Maxine's very helpful, so, getting us everything, so, like I say, Paul got us some things here, so we're good to go. So,
Very good. Good luck. If there's anything you need, give us a shout or an email, and
Yeah.
we can take it from there.
yeah, so, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you.
The engagement letter.
Yeah, an engagement letter, I'll just scan that in, you can have that copy, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Dirk's out here.
Got a little side direction.
You don't need this.
Morning, Dirk. How's it going?
Hey, Eric says thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Hey.
Next on the agenda, we have Mr. Dirk Rogers with the Highway Superintendent with 2 right-of-ways. Morning, Dirk.
Hi there. We ended up with 3. I don't know if that's a problem. They're all 3 from Moab. 1 more came in yesterday. So,
Yeah, Eric says thank you for taking the road limits off.
yeah. The first one is on East Bridge Drive on Richmond. It's just a new service going under the road, just a bore to get to the line that's on the other side out there, and see if we can cram some more infrastructure in out there at Richmond.
Move it.
Second.
Hi, Max.
Moved by Kempley, second by Fishback to
You could-
approve.
You could,
Do we do
All three?
one?
you could do all three.
Okay, I'll hold
Okay.
off.
The next one is, these are all 3 for Webb, and they're just for water services. This one's just east of Nahon on 21 down there. It's for Dixon, Alan Dixon there. Same story, just going under the road, get from the main over to where the tap will be. And, let's see. Well, these are all simple, now I'm lost. Oh, yeah, this is at Hart, up by Frederick, right on 10. Frederick's up here, it's down on County 10. Same thing, born under the road, connect up to where the main is.
And move all 3 then.
Motion by Kempley, second by Fishback to approve the 3 right-of-ways to go to county roads. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
I
carried.
abstained.
Nancy has abstained. Next item, set the bid date for County Road 23.
Yep, I'd like to set the bid date, I believe it would be May 8th, would be as quick as we can do it, max, I believe, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, will you have the...
I'll have the thing to you by
Notice
Thursday again. Yep.
Sounds good.
Unless Levon's mad at me for doing it to her twice in a row at Clark's.
Yeah.
And that's for the cold in-place recycle job. That'll be kind of an interesting project, but,
Better work.
it'll be better than what's there. How about that? So if we could, that's the day I want to, we'll put the advertisements in and we'll open up the bids for that on the 8th of May.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Fishback, second by Sutton, to authorize set bid dates for May 8th for the County Road 23 project. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So when do the load limits come off if we don't do anything?
May 1st.
Roads want to be thawed out.
I know, so, let me finish this and then we'll talk about that, or just touch on it a little bit. The third thing is, I'd like to recommend Buntrock auction service for our county auction. He has a 4% commission on gross sales over $1,000, and JARCs are 6% of $1,500. So even my Redfield math can pick out which one's potentially less. So I would recommend that we hire Ryan, and of course he's familiar with our sale and usually what we're selling, kind of the level of stuff and all that. So, and that'll be May 11th at 10. I'll move to approve Buntrock.
Moved by Sutton, second by Hanson, to approve Buntrock auction for the surplus sale set for May 11th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And at some point we'll have to, I don't know, do you generally just do each department stuff when you declare it surplus, or do we make one big list, or?
Just one big list and then we'll just do one motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
That'll be held out at the highway?
Yep. The load limits thing, that's the same thing I was thinking, Tom, is everything's, a lot of it's still frozen. I mean, I haven't even seen anything that looks like the,
I know.
what you normally see.
So we're gonna get our March breakup in May?
Yeah, it could be. But, we have until May 1st. On May 1st, which I believe is a Tuesday, isn't it?
It is, yep.
We'll have to, if we decide or if we end up recommending that we think we need to leave them on past that, you'll have to make another resolution to extend the load limits.
Farmers are a little crazy.
Yeah, I know.
They'll be a little late to get started and...
Everything's, and it's not like that we want that to happen, I'm usually real comfortable with May 1st.
Well, it's supposed to be
and
60 this
everybody's good.
weekend, maybe it'll stay warm.
We could see, if we got a little shot of rain in there, drive the rest of it out, but then I'm afraid it drives some holes out too, so we'll just kind of see what happens. Thursday, going to Sisseton are you guys want to go and look at the couple of bridges to the north of us?
Yep.
That's the plan.
Now, these bridges, you're talking one by Columbia, which bridge is that?
The one by Columbia is 2 miles north of the Tacoma Park one, the next one upstream. And the other one is a mile north and a mile west of Hecla. Now there's, when I first brought this up a while back, there was three that I'm kind of going, and one was that one down south that we won't be looking at, but if you had to number them in the way that I figure 1, 2, 3, if we were gonna, for the ones that I would most likely recommend to do something at, that south one is my first choice, and that's because there's 5 other bridges that are closed all around it. Then the second one will be this one at Columbia, or it's not Columbia, but north of Tacoma Park.
Okay.
And my third and last one's this one at Hecla. Now, I made the mistake of mentioning it to Darrell Lloyd this morning, and he was so far my first detractor for as far as having to address it someday. The only reason that I'm bringing that one up, it's a 5-ton bridge right now. It'll get inspected this year. I would assume, which is dangerous, but it'll have another cycle of being a 3-ton bridge yet. And then the next time around, so maybe 4 years from now, it might be recommended for closure. And that's kind of why I want you guys to see it, because just being 100% straightforward, it's not something that I would recommend putting money into. But I also have a feeling that we're going to get a reaction from that neck of the woods, so that's why I want you guys to see it before we get to that point. And maybe we'll sit here and that thing will be a 3 or 5-ton bridge that you can drive a pickup over for the next 10 years and it won't matter. But that's kind of why I want you to see it, more so because I'm afraid that it's gonna be a hard sell for me to spend money on that structure when we just spent 1.7 million on the bridge 1 mile south of there. And I just want you guys to actually see what it is, you know, so you know what I'm talking about.
These 3 bridges, are they scheduled to be taken out and not replaced, or pipe replaced, or what are the thoughts as far as what happens with those 3 bridges? Are they just...
That's part of why I want to, I know what I would like to do, but I would like to make sure that it's not me just having tunnel vision or something like that. If we were gonna sit here and you wanted my recommendations right now, we would replace the 2 south ones, and the one at Heckler would get tore out when it became closed. But I want you guys to see what I'm talking about, and the one in the middle, the one at north at Tacoma Park, is the best. I mean, it's like being the smartest kid in 3rd grade 4 years in a row, but I mean, it's the best of the 3 bridges. So it's up to maybe a 16 tonner or something. So, but that's kind of where I'm at. And there's different things we can do with them. It's not necessarily you got to build in this big giant thing to put back in there, you know. But it's just that when I look at them, I'm like, man, I don't think we should replace this, but I think people are going to raise hell, so I want you guys to be culpable too. Maybe that's what I'm doing. I don't know.
Sure. Sounds good. If we leave by 10, we good?
10 o'clock. You want to leave from the highway shop, or? That works all
You
right.
want to meet him at the highway shop and you come up 14? You can pick us up north of town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just tell me where you're at, you know.
Okay, we'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll meet you at the highway shop, because I'd be both ways, because if I go across
Yeah.
Lebanon, I'd have to go south anyway, so I'll just meet you at the highway shop.
Because you're going to come across Tacoma to go up to it, not
Yeah, we go
around
up
Columbia.
to, we'd go up to,
Right over.
yeah, we'll go to Tacoma Park and come in from the east side, because the high side, the road's probably a little better. And then, from there, we'll go up to Houghton, and up to Heckler and look at that one, then just get on 10 and go to System.
Okay.
Whereabouts in Sisseton is that meeting at? It's in Center, Community Center.
It's like a block off of Main.
At
isn't it?
noon, Assistant City Hall, it's 406 2nd Avenue West. Not hard to get to, I mean, it's not hard to
It's
find.
like a block or something
No,
off of
it's,
Main Drive.
it's north of Main,
It's,
about a block or two, kind of on the west side of it. 2nd Avenue West. Yeah.
10 gives us
Nice
enough
color.
time?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So it'll be
All right.
o'clock on Thursday morning.
Sounds good. Everything else all right? I mean, as far as the highway. Good enough for today, okay.
Can you help with egg land assessment?
Yeah, I'll take good enough for today.
You have this all day?
Later, I gotta run down to Watertown right now, but I'll be back like 2 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, because I have equalization, so I'll stop out after 2.
If they're
Yeah,
like
'cause I got another thing I gotta talk to you about.
You're gonna have more screen in the car, you're gonna have to
Okay,
go
the
with them.
road, the road,
Sheila,
my road, yeah.
Carol,
Thank you,
Robert, and I
Linda.
are gonna go up together.
Oh, that's cool.
Gee, let me guess.
They're going to watch out for you.
Yeah, exactly. Gonna drive that far and not coming home right away.
Okay. You alone in that establishment.
Next item on our agenda is Fair Board bylaw amendments.
Oh, what's that?
Derek-
Can we jump in quick?
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
We'll back
But
up
I'm gonna
for
head
a
out of
second
town,
here.
so,
Sounds good now.
all right.
We're looking at doing our bid opening for or not the bid opening, our decision on Sal 3 Construction, awarding the bid.
Yeah, I can get on.
You can do it. Go ahead and,
Started. So, the math checked
Okay.
on every bid. EV Contracting did read low.
I need 2 more. Thank you.
That's probably a good thing we got the low bidder in Aberdeen, huh?
Yeah.
That is a good thing.
It is.
I think we would have been okay. I mean, we've been fine with either one of those other contractors too. I mean, they've been in business for a while. But there is a benefit to having a local contractor, without a doubt.
So are you recommending?
I would
B&B?
recommend that we accept low bid
Okay.
from B&B and accept alternate bids 1, 2, and 3. That would be the evaporator, the fencing, and the deduct for the soil.
I'd move it.
I'd second it.
Moved by Fishback, second by Hanson, to accept the Construction from B&B Contract on Cell 3 reconstruction. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry.
Even the estimate wasn't too bad.
We're really spot on, so thanks to Helms for working with us, and we've been working on this a lot.
They gotta be right once in a while.
It's nice when
We've gone over it multiple times, so,
Exactly.
hopefully as we go through the construction process, there aren't any hidden
Yeah,
things
exactly.
that come up like there seems to be with any project, but we've done this enough where I think we pretty well got things in check.
If we did hit a vein, we have a unit price rate for synthetic, and
Yep.
so we should be able to easily figure out what we need to do.
So we get any unknowns down there when we dig our hole.
Is
Thank-
there an anticipated completion date?
October 1st
Okay.
is substantial. Yep. And then with the November 1st final, Mike will be using it by October 1st, so.
And make sure we tell them at the pre-con there's no penalty for being done early.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
I think moving forward, I don't know, I haven't talked to them at all what their proposed schedule. I imagine they'll start pretty soon though, as soon as possible, which is kind of the reason we wanted to get awarded today.
So we get things signed and get everything...
Yep, so we get contracts bundled together, get them out to them, they get their performance and payment bonds put together, and get it back to you guys for final approval.
So Mike, are you at the point where cell 2, it's a dire, like what if they were late? Can you fit a little more in 2, or are you ready
We'll be fine. We're still below grade.
Okay.
If we had to, we got some above grade room we can utilize, but we should be all right. But we're getting down. I mean, we're just getting pinched.
Yeah.
When you run out of operational room, especially below grade, that's the key. So
Efficiency and compaction rates go down too when we run out of room, but
Sounds good.
Good.
Is it
All
okay
right.
if we take the low bid documents with us and we'll bind them in a book with all the originals for you when we get performance payment bonds and insurance and everything?
Okay, so you're going to take my book?
Just the low bid?
we'll get you a new contract book.
Yep.
So it'll be a little different from that one. It'll actually have all the original documents in there,
Okay.
bound into a book for you,
Okay.
for your files.
But the other two bids are in the packet, right?
Yep, I'll give that back to you, so you
Yeah.
keep your original for now.
Thank you.
okay.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, you can have that. One on the table, if you don't need it.
Estimate, that's kinda nice.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit help.
I
know you had a good
bid
then.
Yep.
Derek's here.
And a good estimate.
Next item is Derek Ritchie with the for Fair Board bylaw amendments. Derek?
Thanks, Mike.
Everybody?
Morning.
Good.
There are a couple of amendments that kind of happened over the course of a number of months, and we kind of condensed them down into one amendment request. There were some questions on a few, so I figured I'd come to answer any questions that you guys may have had. The first one was once a month, the date designated by the Fair Board. That did pass, but I did explain to them that there are certain things that we have to consider, whether it's open meeting laws or additional cost to advertise. So we may want to consider that. When we brought it back up at the meeting, again this last month, by a simple majority, it wasn't overwhelming. They felt, based on the recommendation that Commissioner Kipley made about leaving the schedule the same, but then dealing with the beginning of the year, saying, okay, these are the months we know we have conflicts, and then making the changes just to those specific months.
Did it get put in the packet? Do you have the Fair Board?
No, I was looking for it.
I apologize, I thought you guys had these from last week.
Well, we had
It
one in
was
the
in the
packet.
packet.
Yep, okay.
So we just need to change that verbiage, is that right?
Yeah, either that or you could strike it the way that it is, and then leave it the way that it is,
They
because
got put in with...
you can still make the motion, like on a monthly basis, at, let's say, the January meeting, to say we want to modify these two meetings, or, so you could either strike or change the language depending upon what you felt was more appropriate.
So you do that at the beginning of the year?
That would be my recommendation. The only absolute designated one that's changed every year is the August meeting, because it typically falls like during the fair, so we have, historically, when I was on the board and then also as manager, we typically just made it that last week of July. There was one issue, I think, in 3 years this past year where I had a training that I was kind of on the fence on. We were looking at budgets to make sure that we could still comply with the request that you guys had to have us watch our expenses, so, but it was just defined that we could actually go, so that one was like a month before, but historically it's usually not been a giant issue.
So question, the change then on here is you're going to keep it the second Wednesday of every month except for a change being made?
Candidly, if you're asking me my personal recommendation, I would just strike the change, leave it at the second Wednesday of each month, and then just leave it as an amendment at the January meeting for the schedule for the entire year. I would just treat it as an exception rather than, because every time you change the bylaws, there's open meeting laws which would supersede the bylaw in that case. So we're going through kind of an education process on the order of law and which one kind of supersedes the next. So for the purposes of the bylaw, if it were me doing it, I would leave it as the second Wednesday of each month, and I would just deal with it at the January meeting to make a motion to
Say in
amend.
July you're going to have this meeting.
Yeah, that would be my
To me,
recommendation.
that would be more consistent, and people who want to come to your board meetings would have that.
It'd be a huge
It's
re-education
better, easier
process for us.
contact,
Yeah, I agree.
Well, if you're going to leave that, are we going to get a new, do you want to?
We can do either or. We can resubmit a new one for next week, or if you want a line item, strike it. I mean, it would be up to your what you feel more comfortable with.
Why don't you put a new one in for next week, because there's no rush on it anyway, and at least you have it.
Yep, that's fair.
And then
And that way we know what we're approving.
Look at the final draft,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the only one that was in
Yeah.
question. The other portions of it were all mutually agreed upon by all parties. So
sounds good.
okay, I'll have a new one prepared for you. We'll resubmit it for next week.
Thank you.
And I think
Thank you for
the other issue was just within your own member deal. That was not a bylaw as far as the working after. I would explain to the commission.
Sure.
We had an extensive conversation about whether volunteers should be required to be there the week after the fair to put things away. It sounded like at the board, a lot of them are there, but some of them cannot make it, and the fear was, are you deterring a volunteer from coming if that particular requirement is there?
I can see where a lot of people absolutely can't, they've got to get back to
Yeah,
work.
and they are volunteers.
Giving up a whole week off.
Yeah, after taking the whole week off, so.
And the bigger issue too becomes the general public is not aware that flexibility is there. So when you're looking at the application and it looks like an absolute, that can be a deterrent from even being done.
Right.
We have been able to handle it kind of in the interview process with those that have said, hey, I really want to do this, but I can't satisfy this one tenant. Historically, 50% of the people that are on the board historically have not been able to do Monday. So when you have that large of a number, it became a question of, okay, well, if you guys remember, a couple of years ago, we were down to 17 members. Part of that was because of how the perception in the community was that we were not easy to volunteer for. So now that we're starting to make these headways, we're actually starting to see more board members coming in some of those non-traditional things. And the board members that we've recruited have actually been very productive members. We've had 5 of them that have opened up some sponsorship opportunity that has allowed for things like lunch to be provided for the fair board. We've got one board member that came on last year who personally recommended another board member who happened to make some additional things. And Commissioner Kipley's actually seen some of the conversations that we've had with board members. So I think greater flexibility and then still encouraging them to come and help after the fact. I don't think we just completely absolve them of it, but just not make it an absolute requirement. And after meeting with HR and State's Attorney at the request of the liaisons, I believe they agreed as well that we should do that. I'll let them speak to that.
Sounds good.
And I don't think that's anything you need ours to do. We don't need to give permission on what you put on your guys' membership application. It's just you guys had kind of wondered what direction we were thinking, and I think that gives it to you.
Well, the other question too is at what point, how are we handling that? For the purposes of classification as employees, for the purposes of unemployment insurance and things like that, if they're classified as employees, does that become an HR function? Does that become a function of the fair office? Does that become a function of the fair board? Where exactly does that function lie? So.
That's good.
Okay. Appreciate your time.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, Eric, this was for you. How are our sales doing?
They're doing good, you know, a little slower than anticipated, but we know that because it's a little bit younger audience. I think going forward, we'll have to discuss maybe like an early booking option. And we're also up against Sanford's now putting concerts down the week of the fair, so I'm not overly concerned, about 2% behind where we are historically. But the younger, we're anticipating a spike in the summertime, just because of the little younger lineup that tends to sell a little closer in. We've seen this in 15, and then we've seen it again in 16, so. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Okay.
Max, do you have anything else for us? Gary, do you have anything for us?
Surplus coming up, I did get the keys for one Impala from the sheriff's office that's had a lot of mechanical issues. That's a 2009, and then we're going to be running right up to it, but in a couple, 3 weeks, we're supposed to get the second Impala from them, which is a 2012 that has been a good running vehicle. So the question becomes, mileage-wise, equalization wouldn't gain anything by getting the 2012. It's going to be the same mileage regardless. Scott Bader has the Tahoe, and I asked him, you know, would he be interested in gaining some mileage, and he said, well, he'd leave it up to you. You know, the Tahoe, you just put in new transmission not long ago, new tires and battery, but that's at like 155,000. The Impala would be at about 100,000. So unless you just want to gain some mileage there, but you have put some money into that vehicle, so he's fine either way.
What's the white one sitting over here most of the time? The Tahoe sitting over here?
That's Scott's, yeah, over there, yeah.
Does he need a higher vehicle for his?
Well, and that's the question. I mean,
Yeah.
you never know what the roads are going to be like. You know, we've had some of that discussion. I think there's a feeling that the roads overall are better now, and so whether you can survive with a car versus you know, a four-wheel vehicle, I think he feels that he could go either way, but there are advantages to having the four-wheel drive.
I would think that some of the property and stuff he's looking at, he might have some rough ground. And that's what I was wondering.
Well,
if
keep the Tahoe till it quits.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well,
Is
we'll
there anything
just-
else that's
Yeah,
in
and
rougher
that's-
shape that we could pull off and put the 2012 in place of?
Not really, and so it's just a matter of, do you want to keep one more vehicle for just a spare, or do you want to just put them both on the auction?
The 2012's only got 100,000.
I'd say we should keep that somewhere.
I think you...
We got a place to keep it
2012.
inside if nobody's using it, or? Nothing wrong.
Not really
We'd
inside.
guess or anything.
But,
Across the street to the north, just
we
hang
could
on
try
to it.
and find someplace.
Or park in the fence over behind the Mellon buildings, at least
Yeah.
it's inside a locked area.
That should be good for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to just put it under the commission then, or what?
Sure, I'll drive it Wednesday.
Once we get the information for it. All right, well, we'll just plan on putting the one then on the auction, and you can decide on the other one when it gets here. Sounds good.
Is that all you had, Gary?
That's all I had.
Chris, you have anything for us?
I know you have Board of Equalization at 10. We want to do a quick 5 minutes for update on pending or proposed litigation.
I would move that.
I think you wanted to do one for personnel also.
Yep.
Second.
So we also have one for personnel.
And
Right.
I would move it after a 2-minute break.
Okay, we have a motion by Kipling, second by Sutton to go into exec with a 2-minute break in between. All in favor?
Consult with council and...
Legal and personnel. Out of exec, there was no action as a result of legal. I would entertain a motion to take care of the personnel matter.
I guess I would make that motion. There was an Aflac error on 2 of our employees' policies. I would move that due to that error, Brown County assists those employees by picking up half of the cost of the error. Our share would be $277.51 on one employee, $152.62 on the other employee.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Kempley, second by Sutton to take care of the error on the Aflac insurance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else to become before the Brown County Commission?
One last thing, I passed out some information regarding we had a clerk conference call on Monday morning, and you can see the total claims for 12 through 17. 17 took a drastic bump. We had a special assessment towards the end of 17. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was spread over all the member counties, and you can see that number was significantly more than the previous 4 or 5 years. So I'm just giving you a heads up. There's a good chance, basically, we approved about $465,000 worth of claims on Monday, and that was just the first meeting of the year. So you can expect another special assessment for the clerk fund again this year, and it'll probably be as much, if not more, than last year.
What kind of a claim was it?
Just a variety of legal claims. They're all the catastrophic legal. But the $802,000 for 2017 was considerably more than they've been, and this year's projected to be at least that, if not more again. So I'm just bringing it to your attention so you...
And these are all treated on a percentage basis, Dwayne, as far as what county it is, on how do they determine, like if one county has a $10,000 claim, the other county has a $50,000, and another county has a $200,000.
We handle each claim individually, and each claim is subject to a $25,000 deductible, and then 10%. And then each time we review any ongoing expenses, then they're also subject to another 10% deductible. So it does, it reimburses a good amount of it, but it's nowhere near the whole amount. But Brown County's had a couple substantial ones over the last couple of years, and we're probably going to have more.
What's our pay by population, or?
It's based on the total need, and then it's divided by all the member counties. And there's a formula, and it's...
Yeah, I kind of forgot how that works exactly.
Okay.
I'm just bringing it to your attention so that you're not surprised later in the year when we get another special assessment. That's all I have.
Nothing ever goes down, does it?
Anything else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? Mr. Galkey?
3 weeks ago, you guys said you're gonna have some recommendations or get some people together to look at the email issue. Haven't seen that on the agenda. I was wondering if you guys made any progress on that yet?
Well, I know they spent the first week after that meeting working pretty diligently with different people, but I don't know that there was been an answer found. I guess I did see the article from Google that stated Google was having some issues with Gmail. Now, I don't know to what extent it is, but I think Chris Haar, Aaron, Paul, Derek, they were emailing pretty heavily that whole week trying to figure out if they were still getting it or if there was some, and to be honest with you, I don't believe they've got the problem solved. I think they made some headway on some server updates, but I don't think they've got to the bottom. I believe one of the comments was that they were looking for somebody to spend 300 to 350 hours to monitor the emails that weren't being accepted. And I guess I'll be honest with you, Matt, I'm not an IT person, but that's all the information I have. If somebody else wants to add something, that's kind of what I gathered out of all the emails, is that there was a lot of different conferences with different people trying to solve the issue, and I don't think they've gotten to the full bottom of it yet, but I think they did make a little headway on some of Aaron's, and some of Chris, I think, was still having trouble getting through.
So you're no longer looking at bringing a consultant in? 'Cause that's
Well, I don't
what we
know.
left off last time.
I don't think that's
what
the
they're
case.
waiting on, is try to find stuff, get names of somebody that's willing to do it.
Well, there's 3 main people in Aberdeen that you go to. David Malsum, I can't remember the name of the new company he's with. You got WDC, which is Wade over there, and you got Stuckey Resource Group, Chris Stuckey. Those are pretty much your 3 main go-to people in Aberdeen for that kind of stuff.
Maybe we need to put it on the agenda again next week, see where we're at.
Well, I mean, 9 months not being able to receive email from Gmail. Gmail, as you know, is owned by Google. Gmail, there's roughly 3.5 billion email accounts in the world, and Gmail accounts for about 1/3 of those. So to
say it's a Gmail issue is, I think, probably a little bit off base, to say it nicely.
Well, like I said, I'm not an IT, but I was understanding this article came from Google itself. And I don't know why, I don't claim to understand the IT terminology sometimes, but I agree that, you know, if we have to hire somebody out of 3 sources here in town, I'm not opposed to it. I guess we just need to...
That's all I'm saying, simple as set a dollar amount, maybe it's $1,000, come in, you know, $80 an hour, whatever it is, spend this many hours, tell us what you find. If you're making headway, keep going. If not, maybe you cut ties and say it is what it is. But, you know, for a county this size not to be able to receive emails from a third of the email addresses in the world is it's tough to do business.
Tax on our agenda next week. Can we get that on?
Yeah.
See where we're at with it? And
Yeah.
I think they were gonna look up, maybe it's those same 3 people, but...
I don't think we were getting $1,000 quotes. I think it was a lot higher, that was the issue. But yeah, we can certainly discuss that next week.
Well, it could be, because it's hard to, if you say how much to fix the issue you don't know, I think it might be easier to approach it at how much are you comfortable spending to have someone come in and what can you find in this amount of time? It could be they find it in a matter of a few hours, it could be a few days, it could be longer. But you gotta get someone to start somewhere.
We're on the agenda for next week. I don't know, do we want to invite, make the invite to the 3 people that want to?
That's not our job, I think that's IT.
Well, I mean, do we want to make that suggestion to Paul, have the 3 people come from Aberdeen and
We
see if they have any interest
We
or?
can certainly contact them and get a quote.
Yeah, we can get quotes. I don't think they need to hear personally because that's really out of our expertise there. You see bids and what they're doing and what they expect. And
Just have them come in next week, see where we're at.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll
Thank you.
hopefully get a little more headway next week, Matt. Aye. Anything else to come before the commission?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Kepley, second by Sutton to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.